Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 160, and today we're going to be doing battle in the Gauntlet. And so, over this past week in our Battles of Runeterra, we've been playing quite a bit of the Harrowing, and I've been exceptionally happy with how it's turned out. And I really wanted to take a opportunity here with the Gauntlet and see what happens if we just bring a full Harrowing lineup. And so throughout earlier in the week, we did bring the Sejuani Gwen Harrowing deck to battle. I really liked the idea of harrowing back just like 4 or 5 or 6 overwhelm units. So even if your opponent blocks, you're still going to have this big, overwhelming and crushing amount of damage. We played the Elise Katarina Gwen deck in the previous video. We used that to prime glory our gauntlet this week. Lots of interesting and strong things there. I feel like that one's been really kind of touched on quite a bit. And then we're going to have a third Shuriman offering of Hallowed decks today, or Harrowed decks, Hallowed, Harrowed. They're playing Hallowed cards and the Harrowing, so it's Hallowed, Harrowed, if you will. But a Shurima offering as well as our third Harrowing-based deck. And I think these have a lot of power. They hold up resiliently against things like pirates, and then they're, kind of their weakness at the end of the day is if you're going to have a deck focused on casting the Harrowing, you're going to have to watch out against the likes of Denies and Rite of Negations. And so I don't want to be playing decks that are just like super all in on the Harrowing and requiring that for a win, which we're not. But that's going to kind of move into our pick and ban strategy as to where if we're playing against the likes of Thresh Nasus or Thresh Kindred or Kindred Nasus, whatever the Shadow Isle Shurima flavor of the day is, or if we're having to play against some kind of deny varietal like Ezreal Kinnan, we're going to look to ban those out. We don't want a big cornerstone of our strategy just getting taken down by the deny strategy. And then I still feel reasonably okay playing against something like Pirates. We've got 3 Vile Feast, 3 Hate Spikes in all of our deck. We have a lot of ways to generate some additional units. And so I think we can hold our own against those decks and then protect our strategies in the ban phase. And so that's the idea of what we're bringing. To show you the decks we're going to be actually doing battle with, this is Gwen, Katarina, Darius. As you may notice, Elise does not live in this list. We're going to be playing with Elise elsewhere. You have to kind of make the decision. Do I want to bring the kind of stock Gwen Katarina deck, or am I willing to kind of move around and mess around with this a little bit so that we can spread the love out, if you will? And so we've moved Elise out of this deck, and then we've just replaced her with an extra copy of Katarina and an extra copy of Darius. And so it doesn't help in the early game as much. We lose out on our ability to have those really nice hate spikeable units, but I think this is an okay place to do it. I feel more comfortable taking Elise out of this deck than taking Gwen out, right? There's a lot of people out there that just don't even play Elise in this deck to begin with. I feel like we have enough reasonable early game stuff to be comfortably confident. And then if we are really worried about things like pirates, we could come in and include additional copies of House Spiders just to have that early game extra summon kind of thing. But I think we're going to be okay here. Deck number 2, this is our Shuriman offering. We're going to be playing Akshan Elise, and while this can't hit with a bunch of Overwhelms, it does hit with a bunch of Fearsomes. One of the really choice units to be bringing back with the Harrowing is a Frenzied Skitterer. This gives our units, or all of our Spiders, a bonus, all of our opponent's units -1 attack, and then that ties in quite nicely with the Fearsome theme, the Minor Spiders theme we have with the return of Elise, and then another fantastic card to return with the Harrowing. And so with the addition of the Frenzied Skitterer, I did want to push a little bit heavier towards the Fearsomes, and so you're going to see the Burgeoning Sentinel, the Phantom Butler, Merciless Hunter, and Camaveran Dragon as our Fearsomes package. We have that same removal suite with the Hate Spikes and the Vile Feasts. We have an Absolver to help close out the game at the end, and then Akshan Elise for some nice early game interactivity. And so that's the Shuriman offering that we'll be bringing. The last one is coming into Freylord. And so with Freylord, the big thing that we ran into problems with here was just having a curve that would occasionally be too high. You would draw a hand with a bunch of Sejuanis and the like in it. And so we've gone with the 2-2-2 split. So we have access to Kindred as a nice mid-game board control element, and then Gnar Sejuani as our premier overwhelm units. And so the big thing we like to talk about this deck in terms of its early game is taking advantage of the Troll Chant. The Troll Chant trying to ideally get a 2-for-1 off of one of our many 2-drops. And so if we start with a Ruthless Raider into a Tusk Speaker, ideally we'll be able to 2-for-1 our opponents in the early game. That buys us tons of time in terms of snowballing the board, getting a bigger board, and then eventually winning with a Harrowing. And so that's it. That's the bros we'll be doing battle with today. I did check in on the pay-to-win price. You never know. Sometimes you aren't completely paid up. Your debts haven't been paid. But here we're looking pretty good. I checked everything. There was a couple of epics that weren't epic, but otherwise ready for battle. All right, let's see what we run into. I'm excited. I really have a lot of fun casting the Harrowing. It's nice to just put it down and go, oh yeah, I just win this game, don't I? And so, good stuff. But all right, so with the things we're seeing here, we have dragons, we have Viego ephemerals, and then we have the likes of some kind of Elise-based Lucian deck. And so as far as these go, I'm going to come in and just ban out the Shurima deck. It's not just because of the Rite of Negation potential. We're not going to interact with their ephemerals very well. We don't do a whole lot of good blocking, and our cards like Vile Feast and Hate Spike aren't effective against ephemerals. So I think we can take it out. I feel like we're going to get the early advantage against dragons, and then once they're on the turns to where they're playing like 5 and 6 cost dragons, we'll just say, LOL, it's the Harrowing. And then down here, we have tons of ways to answer a Lucian, and so I don't feel like he's as big of a struggle since we can hate spike him down. But all right, I'm going to lead off with the Shurima deck. This is the way I always like to do these. If we're going to have to battle with the deck twice, I tend to like to have our bad deck go to battle first and foremost. And so it's not to say that this is a bad deck. It's just not tried and true and proven as we would see with the Noxus version. All right, so the dragons can be a little scary in terms of our fearsomes, right? They tend to play a lot of meteor units, which get good blocks against what we're doing. Maybe we'll be able to get in and get some early attacks in with Elise, but this is definitely a matchup to where Elise won't be able to frequently attack. Our fearsomes won't be able to just attack at will, and so has me minor worried. You know, little worried, not big worried. I got better things in life to be big worried about. Okay, Frenzied Skitterer turning up. We can technically flip an Elise next turn if we want. If, say, we block the dragon with the Spiderling, do a crawling sensation, and then bring out the Skitterer. How excited about that are we going to be? I'm not amped. I'm leaning more towards like, oh, this is tough. We can save the Skitterer for next turn if we care to just not flip our Elise. I think I'm leaning towards the Sentinel. I'm just not excited about getting into battle with the White Flame. Now, the other thing we could look to do, I kind of skipped over it a little bit, would be to just hate spike away the burgeoning Sentinel into the White Flame, and then we can crawling sensations after the fact. Maybe that's the way we go about it, because the way I'm kind of feeling about this is we're just going to need to punch as much damage as we can. We're going to lose our whole board, and then we can win the game with the Harrowing that we already have in our hand. I think this is the way we're going to want to go about this. This is going to be lame, isn't it? This is going to be lame. All right, so we do have the backup Elise in hand. This is going to flip from the crawling sensations back to normal mode, but we unfortunately lose our big Sentinel this way. What's Elise going to pick up? Fearsome Spell Shield? We don't get the fucking kill? Why don't we get the kill? Did I miss on what? Did the white flame was targeting Elise, right? It just says strafing strike. That's useful. We got the 2 husks. What did I miss? I missed something. All right then. Onward and upward. All right. I think we're still just going to have to come in and slam. I was really counting on this white flame to not be on the board. It's going to get to do some pretty big growing, right? He's going to get good blocks here. Not the way I was suspecting those blocks to go down. But I think we have to just kind of go with this approach of punch in where we can and then count on the harrowing. But here, it does feel like we have a bit of time. And so I'm looking to drop the dragon. And then next turn, I mean, if we get to play a Frenzied Skitterer, it's going to shrink the Dragon Guard. He's probably going to play like a Shyvana here. And so if he taps out for Shyvana, we at least have good blocks into the White Flame. Oh, just stone nothing? Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. Oh, I think the idea still stands. We'll try to trade away our whole board. We'll chip in a little bit of damage here if we can, and then on our follow-up turn, we'll get a harrowing. We're hallowed 1, right? No? Oh, we still have our butler. Okay. Not a great play with the Mountain Drake. He unfortunately cannot block. I guess he can block the Spiderling, but he can't block a Fearsome. Okay, pretty healthy chunk of damage coming in. Now, like, it's a real question to even bother with the Burgeoning Sentinel. I just assumed at this point we'd be able to, he would have more stuff on the board and we'd have to trade away our whole team. I don't think we want the Sentinel taking up space, so I'm going to leave it back for now. I don't want to just throw away our good units, but I'm not opposed to losing them. What up, Jarvan? J4 here to party. I wish I knew the entirety of what has died. We're about to lose these 3 good units. And then we have 2 to go. I'm trying to decide if we need to be putting a Phantom Butler on the board. What all has died? We've lost an Elise. We've lost 2 Butlers. Let me see here. Let me double check these units, right? We want to get our Butlers back. We've lost 2. We have 1 in our... well, no, we have 1 in our deck, so we still have this one available here. Okay. I think we're going to need him. Okay. All right, Burgeoning Sentinel, it's your time to shine, all right? I'm ready for you to block now. All right, J4 is going to get the flipsies, but hopefully we can close this out before the Cataclysms are relevant. We're going to do the Harrowing. He's going to get a shot to Cataclysm if he wants, but we should hopefully be wide enough to still just end the game. Look at that. Look at that scary hand. Bringing in all the prismatic units. Some good stuff right there. He gets a rally. Sure. I'm attacking with everybody. Everybody's got Fearsome. And so I don't care about that one spiderling. We're going to either win the game on this attack or we're just going to lose. So, turns out we won the game on that attack. GG.
Some of us are only human.
All right. Gwen, Katarina, Darius ready to go. Katarina and Darius an item? Are they dating like Kato and Shiraza? Can't remember. I'm not the master of the lores, but they look awful happy together down here. Neither of them looks happy. None of these champions look happy. I guess Gnar kinda looks a little happy. Sejuani's so serious. Elise, she's probably getting ready to snack on that hapless aristocrat. She doesn't have too much to be sad about. Okay, the dragons again. Let's do this. We'll hang on to the boisterous host and the house spider. Just make sure we have a decent curve and look for some more dudes. I want to get our dudes running early. We should hopefully be able to just kind of make a tempo play or two in the mid game and then crush with the harrowing. And so if we can get our boisterous hosts and house spiders down, chip in a little damage, hate spike something down, like those style of plays all sound pretty good to me. It's tempting to throw out a hate spike because our hand doesn't really do anything, but if we get an opportunity to take down a bigger unit here, gonna want to take it. Oh. The elusive. Maybe we'll get an elusive Darius this game. That's the line I was expecting to happen as soon as this game started. Get me a elusive Darius. This elusive is about to fuck shit up. He's ready to come in for a solid 8-piece nugget on this turn.
Every fighter falls.
Opponents over there cursing the RNG. I feel like here we'll get a shot to add some units to the board. Whoa, a Targon's Peak? I like it. I like it. But I was going to say, even if that was a unit, I feel like at the end of the day, if everything goes completely wrong, he's not going to have an answer to our Ruined Reckoner. And so I feel like if we play some cards, he plays some cards, if our ground-based game gets fucked up, then this Reckoner is still attacking. So there's no reason to just come out here and open. But with turns like this, we can potentially set up some extra damage. And that worked out beautifully with the Targon's Peak giving us a free board to come in and attack on. We should be able to even... If he hits Aurelian Soul here, we should be fine. If he's not playing Freylord, but if he's playing Freylord and had the big 8/8 dude, we should still be fine. Oh god, a field promotion? Endless Fox. Okay. This is clearly the appropriate play. Trying to emote. Emote, please. And J4. Nice. Nice. So he's going to get to re-attack, just never blocking. He's not going to deal any damage to us next turn. And we should be able to open and get the kill. Got him. GG. Market a W for bust.
We have done well. Noxus is proud.
Noxus is proud. Good job, team. All right. Next battle. Okay, so what do we have here? We got, what's his name? Kane Garen. Sure. This is probably going to be a mid-rangey style deck that I could see giving us a bit of trouble. I assume it's just like an Elites deck. I'm not entirely certain what's happening there. Got Gwen and Freylord, probably pretty similar to our Freylord offering. I'm not opposed to playing against a mirror match. And then Akshan Talia coming at us with the landmarks. I have no respect for landmarks. And so I think I'm okay to ban out Kane. I just have this kind of vision of they go like, 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop, and then their units are just slightly bigger than ours, and we can never chunk in any damage in the mid game, right? So like that previous game with our fearsomes where the dude gets the dragons down and we can't actually attack our fearsome units into his board. I just see a lot of that kind of thing happening with a Garen based deck. So we'll kick him out. Say no thank you, not today. Come to battle with our Elise. Oof. Okay. Up against the Gwen Freylords. Sounds good. Curious, like, there's a lot of hands that work nicely with the Skitterer, and then a lot that aren't, like this one. It just doesn't do a ton here. It lets us get fearsomes in, but if we're not leveling up our Reaper or anything, then it's just not a real supreme amount of damage. So I wanted to try and see if we couldn't mulligan to a little bit closer to one of the Troll Chant hands that we're looking for, to where we get a 2-for-1 early with the Troll Chants. I want to attack. It's not our attack token, is it? F. Alright, no blocks. Vile Feast turns up. How do we maximize this here? Like, are we okay to just give up on like one Sentinel? I think that's kind of okay. Let's see what he does. I mean, we could just wait until next turn and do the Sentinel plus Vile Feast. Then we have a pretty free reign to attack with our fearsomes, at least as far as this board's concerned. So maybe we wait around. I'm just kind of envisioning that, like, we take the Vile Feast now, grow the single Sentinel. Next turn we play the Butler Sentinel, and then we just look to eat have the dragon eat the weak Sentinel. That mana was completely fucked up. I thought we had 3 mana this whole time. None of that play makes sense when you hear it like that. We can cycle around a little bit and have a similar idea on turn 4, where we're going to play the dragon and Vile Feast. I mean, that does let us... I guess that messing up a little bit makes that sound even better. If we're going to go into turn 4. Am I wrong with this? I can't add. I'm so bad at addition. I was thinking if we get a Vile Feast down, then we'd be able to just sacrifice the Spiderling to the dragon, which we can do if we play Boisterous Host here. Jesus, I don't know why anybody bothers with this channel. At least nobody's out here watching me try to do fucking math. At least you don't have to go tell your teacher at school. I've been watching this boomer play card games. He can't add for shit. It's wearing off on me. Alright, this seems like a pretty positive turn, though. Just go ahead and take the blocker out of the way. We'll sacrifice off the Boisterous Host to the Camaveran Dragon, and we just have this really choice collection of fearsomes ready to attack. Look at all those stats. So close to a lethal. Laser beam. Alright, let's give him one of these. So he can either block our 4/3, which will boost our Bakai Reaper, or if he wants to prevent the big damage from the dragon, we get another nice little boost on the Reaper. Looks good. There was a point in time in my life when I was able to do math reasonably. It's like whenever you go and study computer science, they make you take a bunch of math classes, and so I've done a bunch of calculus type things in my life. Doesn't clearly doesn't show as we're out here playing children's card games, but I assure you, I'm not like a complete and full on total moron. Just slightly dumb at times. Slightly dumb on occasion. This looks great for us, though. Turns out this this blighted caretaker can't block a fearsome. So let's be real. I thought our dragon was gonna survive until I realized the hallowed hit. So we'll protect our dragon. Rip Merciless Hunter, and then we're presenting a lot of lethal options next turn. Opponent agrees. Cool. All right, onward and upward with Gwen. So watching this dumb. This guy's so dumb. I assure you, I went to college. I went to Marshall University. It's in the great town Huntington, West Virginia. It's where I grew up. It's in my mind here recently. I just watched the Elvis movie with Tom Hanks. It was okay, whatever. But the Tom Hanks he plays Elvis's manager. The manager tells everybody he's from Huntington, West Virginia. Kind of blew my mind that he would have picked our town as he ran around to the carnivals lying about his citizenship. Said he told people he was from Huntington because it sounded he could use his bad accent and sound southern. Oh, he's coming at us. So when you hear my accent, you're like, man, I wonder where that guy's from. It's Huntington, West Virginia. Just like Tom Hanks in the Elvis movie. All right, but enough about my life. Back into the game here. It's not a great start. Not a great start here. We need a little bit of something to do. A full 3 bank on this turn is not ideal. Vile Feast is a great addition, though. If he passes and we pass, it feels pretty good. If he plays like a 3-1 Hallowed and we get Vile Feast, that seems good. Do not care about this. It's actually pretty tempting to just go ahead and Vile Feast now. And then this way, like he's going to have the big giant Hallowed unit, sure. But we can just block it and not take any damage. And so, sounds good to me. All right, he's tapped out. Oh, our Gwen never gets to block here. Right, the Hallowed's going to hit her for like 4 or 5, 3.
Nothing to fear. Timing is everything.
Okay. Not bad, not bad. Now, our Gwen's ready to come out here and attack.
This is a chance for me to leave my mark.
Not a very impressive board, but getting this little bit of a drain is kind of nice.
I should never tire of something so
Awesome.
grand.
Oh, he's playing cards. Is it awesome? Oh, that's not so bad. It's like if we get a kill here, this is going to be spectacular. So how much stuff have we had die? We're gonna roll into our turn 7 with a 3 bank, and so we can look to say play Ruined Reckoner here and just throw it in front of Gwen, and then next turn we'll get to have the we'll get to have the Ruined Reckoner come back to the board and put the Midnight Raid in our hand, we'll get the big hits in with Gwen. But I think we're like a turn behind on that style of shenanigan, and so let's just go ahead and take his Gwen down. I've got this Ravenous Flock ready to go while she's stunned. Why is he just putting damage on Gwen? Is he gonna have like a +2/+2 and ephemeral? Or a hate spike? None of that sounds very impressive. Darius sounds kind of impressive, though. ain't nothing wrong with Darius. I mean, he might even just get he has the opportunities for some just big kills next turn if we get a flip this round and then a free attack next turn. Tell you now, ain't nothing wrong with that either. Just takes the free attacks with Darius. This is like playing Path of Champions, right? You play a little bit of Path of Champions, you're used to getting some Darius rallies and some multi attacks, and oof, drop an emote on that one. sorry, dude. All right, looks good. Is he going to be mean to our Darius? That's not very nice. All right. Hate spiking away Darius. I assumed this would happen on the day. Rip, friend. You fought hard. You fought valiantly, but... Okay. He just said, I want to come back to the Harrowing, right? He says, just let me die. I ain't done. I'll come back in the future. Fucking spooky version. All right. Let's clear this stuff out. So we're gonna play both of our dudes this round. We're gonna get the double Midnight Raid in. I want to kill off as much of our stuff as I can. It'd be kind of ideal if our Ruined Reckoner would just die here, which is not super likely. He's gonna have to start blocking. Lame. Alright. That'll help clear out the board. So let's send in our impact friend here. Get an extra point of damage. Doubt he'll get a trade, but we'll be ready with our Darius for next turn. All right, here it goes. Are you excited? Are you excited for this? That's what we're here for. What if he has one of his own? At least we get some work done. You got Darius and friends. All right. That is a massive They Who Wander. Seems like that's going to be a little short on the damage. And it Probably won't matter here, but one of the things you do need to kind of be aware of, you don't see as often with Darius anymore, is if he wants to frostbite our Darius here in the middle of combat, he's going to get these strikes happening down the road, and then he's going to flip in the middle of combat and still punch in for 4 damage, right? He flips a +4 attack in terms of his in terms of his level up. Are we dead? It's a big fucking they who wander. That's big. It's currently a little short. This is exactly how you die to atrocity. He doesn't have it though, or at least right now. Oh, he does have it. He's got Hallowed. Fuck. Alright. GG. Boo. The Harrowing was not big enough. Alright, game 3. What do we got? We're up against the Landmarks deck. Talia Akshan. Oof. That was a big fucking they who wander. I can't remember the last time I've seen a unit that big. Probably in 2019. Alright, so what do we got? We'll hang on to our cheap bros here. Look for some other early stuff. Nice collection of early plays. It is nice having a way to take down Akshan with the Hate Spike. It's not as awesome having to get 2-for-1, but nice to be able to take him down, especially if they start to have Merciless Hunters. So how do we want to do this? Do we just want to go for the damage? Right? If we play the Saboteur, we get an extra point of damage in this round. Sounds good to me. Oh, we don't even get to attack. It's always our attack token, man. That's the way my brain works. You say, okay, it's our attack token. I'm ready. What up, Chip? Dang. You got us good, Chip. Sure. All right, let's see where this gets us. We'll go ahead and add the Boisterous Host. We're not going to open attack next turn. Ideally, we'll do something involving Hate Spike and then following up with the Sentry, but I don't really want to have to Sentry off one of these 2/2s. It doesn't feel super appealing. Just try and get a bit of tempo out of this. So if he drops a 4-drop or a Waste Walker or whatever, and then we get to follow up with a stun. Be fairly strong. Sure. Quick Attack is a fantastic hit on the Husk. Which would we rather him have? I mean, we're not playing the Fearsomes deck anymore, but we do still have Fearsomes. And then we're coming up with the Overwhelm unit to where the 1 health unit we might get to punch some damage through. He's like realistically just going to block this turn, but it's an interesting little thought exercise. Oh, I want Hallowed Bro on the left. Talia flipped yet? She's one away. At least these aren't like super strong Talia landmarks, right? He's not copying a big unit giver.
Come on, there's so much to see.
And then do we even care about her attack this round? I think that's a fairly valid question.
Everybody, the horizon falls.
She hits for 10 if you don't block. We have the stun and the sentry, but I think I'm a little bit more interested in adding good cards to the board. The downside here is, well, I mean, if we hit, the Reckoner hits the 2/2, he's just going to attack with it. You're hoping for a little bit better than that. But how can we line this up next turn? So let's say that we play the Reckoner, the ability hits the Clockling. He attacks with both. We can put the Reckoner then in front of Talia, and then maybe stun his follow-up play. That gets in for, like, Bro gets in for big numbers there with the 6. I think that's okay.
Like threading a needle. Samrush just won't sit still.
Alright, he can have a kill for the sentry, but he didn't play it if he does. So now, ideally, we'll get this big tempo turn, right? We can play the Reckoner. It's going to can't block Talia. He's going to say, oh shit, I got to add another unit to the board. And it's going to be like a 5-drop, and we'll just stun it.
Must be nice living.
Close to a 5-drop. There's a non-zero chance that he doesn't have any more plays to add to the board. Says, uh-oh. I gotta play my right in negation. Stone weaving doesn't do fuck all. I think we're good here. Okay. I guess you could hit... There is that stun landmark, right? The 1-cost one that lets you stun something, or stuns the strongest unit. I guess that could be a thing. I'm still used to Expedition, where like everything has countdown. I think we're still probably fine. Oh, that's not a can't block copy. Interesting. Summon an ephemeral copy. The copy can block. Get your shit together, Riot. Looks like we're lethal anyways. Get your shit together, Riot.
You're ruining everything. If only you were made of rock. Stand back. Excuse me.
Alright. GG. Whew. Riot Games trying to steal wins from me. They don't know what the word copy means. Copy as long as it's not a negative effect, apparently. Alright, not enough to take us down. Battle number 3. So what do we got here? Lots of Gwen today. But there is the Gwen Scouts deck. That's probably going to be the field promotion deck. There's this Viego Evelyn number in the middle. That's probably what we'll ban. And then Nora along with Bard. And so the Scouts deck kind of thing I'm okay enough with. I think our stuff is just way more powerful than theirs. We're doing Gwen in a lot more powerful style than they are. So that's fine. My concern with the Viego deck is the things like Camaver and Soldier that can come down and block 2 Fearsomes in the same turn and really shut stuff down. And then I think Nora, she can be problematic in terms of the summons, but I think the consistency coming out of the Viego summons is going to be much higher. And this is happening again, right? I really expected to come into this thing and just have our main Gwen deck get banned every time, because that's the one people have seen. And they've just been banning our left deck every time. They've been banning this Sejuani deck like it's the good one. And I don't know. I have this like thought and feeling in Gauntlet as to where you kind of want to set up your left deck to be the bad one. I'm not entirely certain how to do that. I think it has to just do alphabetical, but it weirded me out excessively in the last one. People kept banning whatever our left deck. They kept banning Poppy Tarek with our lineup with scouts in it, and then now we've had people ban this Freylord deck twice in a row. This is the first person to let it through, and so makes me curious. So we do have Sejuani here. If we can play the Tusk Speaker on our opponent's turn, it gives us a way to level her up a little bit better. We're not going to interact with the Sleep Feather Tracker, and so I'm fine to just go ahead and add the Tusk Speaker. I could see an argument for dropping the Boisterous Host there, but I think that just lands us in a spot to where opponent attacks with just the Phantom Butler, and we don't get his bird off of the board. Okay. I wasn't sure if we were going to have a Hallowed here. I didn't bother to look, and I couldn't remember from the previous turn, but I wanted our Overwhelm Punch to hit, and so what you'll find with a lot of these decks are if you can get in the ideal spots, that would be trading your units on attack. So we attack, we get that little bit of overwhelm damage in, and that lets you come in and build up some advantages. But when he attacks into us, we don't get to deal overwhelm damage, right? Makes sense. All right. Well, Scar Maiden Reaver is ready for action. Kindred. Like this is the board you want to see for Kindred, right? When they have no units on board and they're about to probably just play a 5-drop. I think our Scar Maiden Reaver can handle pretty much everything here. And then I want to just get like a little bit of board before we try and drop Kindred. This is a nice overwhelm hit. Get a 4-shot in. If he Black Spears our Reaver, it sucks, but doesn't feel like a Black Spear deck if you're playing if you're playing this style of deck with field promotions in it. You just have to give up something somewhere, and you probably can't play all the removal. But definitely ready to get Kindred down now. Block. Say it with confidence. Yeah, that Paramour is not coming in, is it? All right, so we'll have to watch ourselves with this stance swap. You can AoE and kill stuff and have that as a means to pop off your Kindred. Sad day. You were ready to fight so good. That might be a loss for us here. We're short of the overwhelms and don't have a great answer to Gwen. That's when you just say, and Battle Fury. It didn't come together, unfortunately, but would have been sweet if it did. Only got one Hallowed. I'm curious if we can't attack with these Reavers and then maybe get an AoE stance swap. If he forgot it's in our hand. I've forgotten that you can do AoEs with the stance swap dozens of times, and so we aren't really presenting enough damage to where he has to block with Gwen, but it would be cool if we got a misplay. Second Cataclysm, okay. we at least have like good blocks. We'll have these little dudes to throw away.
We'll take what we want.
But these snip snaps are starting to be problematic.
Snip.
What? Just got another Gwen in hand? Ugh. Must be the case.
This is a chance for me to leave my mark.
Alright. We're gonna need to pick up a Harrowing. Alright, well we can get Dum Dum to the left here off of the board. Drop our Yeti. See what happens. It's not looking good, but we got 3 top decks to victory. I guess we could maybe be all right if we picked up Sejuani, right? Sejuani to just take Gwen down. He's down 2 of them. Feels like it should be pretty tough for him to win without her, but just dropping a Gwen at this point would be pretty devastating as well. Alright, it's a turn up. We got 3 draws. Fuck. Alright, we got 2 more draws. How many cards we got in here? 27? It's like a 1 in 9er. Oh, what's this? Fuck. Alright. Fun. Boo! Where are we at? Bring this deck again. I ain't scared of Nora. Okay. Some Bard and stuff. Gonna hang on to the Harrowing just in case. You can't cast it if you never draw it, so you should keep your 9-cost cards in your opening hand, right? Exactly. Exactly right.
A brief engagement, but a joyous one. The night is young.
Alright, first blood. Getting him. He's gonna have the Nora, isn't he? He's only playing 2 copies. Just automatically assume the worst. Now, do we need to open? Like, he's throwing the chimes in? I don't think so. I think if we get a trade, it's okay. Just to kind of keep his board worn down. Alright, that's not a blocker. Picked up this Battle Fury as well. Should be quite good against Bandle City Bard. They have a stun. They have many morph, but not a lot of ways to interact with a Battle Fury unblocked unit. Gets his first one. Looks like some kind of elusive Bubble Bear. Okay. Get that attune. A little bit of free mana. Fuck. That was not cool.
We shall sing, dance, and forget our woes.
Fine.
All right. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for this turn 5? Squeeze them. Get your butt cheeks nice and tight. Here comes the Battle Fury. Let's see if he's got some interactivity in this deck.
No one hurts my friends.
Emote worthy. Fuck. Okay. You see the card come down and you're just like, oh, this is abysmal. But I don't think there's any way out of this now for 3 mana. You could wallop it. I guess wallop's a way out. I forget. You got to remember, Bandle City just has the answer to everything. Like, I'm trying to think what Reddit can never be positive, and so this you got to get your memes together about how Bandle City has the answer to literally everything. And surprised they didn't have it right here. Right, you should have had the wallop. All right, nice work, Battle Fury. Game 3. Let's see what Darius says about that. Riot, or not Riot, Reddit's big concern of the week is a rotation for the new cards. Like, we should never do it. We should just be sitting around playing like vintage Magic all the time to where rotations are dumb. You don't have to play. See, that's the thing. You don't have to play the standard format. You can play Wild or whatever they come up with as the old one. You can do whatever you want. That's the neat thing with games. And there's another neat thing with games to where if you're not having fun, you just don't play it anymore. It's a valid thing. You know, you don't have to sit around and just play some card game you aren't having fun with. And so I don't feel like people understand that's an option. I don't mean to drive people away from this by any means, but you know, nobody's saying you have to sit here and have a bad time. So if you don't like it, then go play Magic or something. Go play Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't know whatever else people are playing. Marvel Snap comes out in like a month. You can go play that. I'm interested in Marvel Snap. I will say I haven't watched anyone play it. I've just seen a couple of the startup videos, and they are pretty well focused on that kind of no downtime kind of thing. And regardless of what game we're playing, if I'm sitting around bitching about something, it's typically about our opponent taking forever, right? Like rank 1 thing FTP Bust bitches about our opponents taking too long. And then rank 2 thing FTP Bust bitches about our opponents playing Shadow Isles cards. And so you know, there's a couple of options out there that I can do my bitching about, but my number one is when people just fucking take forever, and it is fairly appealing that the take forever aspect of the game might be weakened or lessened or removed entirely. But all right, here we'll soak up the 2-for-1. I'm going to Ravenous Flock down this Esmuth just to go ahead and get it off of the board. We'll have this Gwen ready on turn 4, probably going to be opening on turn 5, and so let's just keep this dude's stats at a minimum. All right. Arachnoid Sentry gives us a reason to not open on 5 if we draw another cheap play. It's a little tougher for us to draw cheap plays because we took the Elises out of our deck, but if you roll into turn 5 and then you get to play a 2-drop, your opponent taps out all of their mana, then you get to stun their expensive play. Nice little bit of tempo. This is aggressive. That's not a combat trick. I did the mathematics on that one. Bird did not survive the combat. Whoa, that was 5 chimes. Jesus. I guess he's been doing a lot of chime stuff, so not a lot we can say about that. A little scary, though. I was really hoping this turn that we would get a Black Spear out of this. Right, he makes some kind of block with Esmuth, and we get to Black Spear whatever he plays. But when he hits 5 chimes, it's really challenging for us to get access to that unit. Now they're starting to flow in. many portals does he have? Only 2? Feels like he should have like 6 or 7 portals. I feel like we were starting to high roll this one in terms of what was happening, but maybe it's just not as many as I thought. Here's Darius. He's on the board, ready to fuck you up. All right, Mystic Vortex doesn't do a lot. This is like the 5th one he's played this game. Let me double check, see if he's cheating. Can't see what your opponent's played anymore. Oh, I didn't want to see it anyways. We have to just be opening, right? I mean, so we have stuff in hand, but he has literally, I guess maybe he just doesn't have units in his hand, right? And he just wasted all of those chimes. Like, I guess if all that he's really doing is adding a no chime bird, that maybe all of those chimes just missed. Huh. Interesting. Guess that was the case. Get him, Darius. Good enough to get us into the final battle. I appreciate it. Very nice of you.
Every moment of this has been a joy.
Final battle upon us. All right. So yeah, just go play something else. I've heard that as one of the. Hang on, let's make a decision here real quick. We don't have any Shurima, but we do have a couple of Ionia-based decks in here. I don't think either of these are Ionia decks that are going to have Deny in it. So we can choose to not worry about that. But I think I'm okay to battle against Zed Jax, right? We have hate spikes in all of our deck. We should be able to answer those. I think, like, just on track with taking down Viego. I'm not really worried about Viego Kane. Maybe we would go to the Poppy deck. It's like the Camaveran dude things out of the Viego, getting the good blocks against us and everything. It seems kind of painful. But I just like never worry about Kane. It's like all the Kane cards are so slow. I think it gives us the time to do stuff that we want. Let's just ban out Poppy. But no, the thought I was just initially bringing is that's been one of the actual kind of things is this game is super free to play friendly, and it's very easy to not spend money on it. I haven't spent money on non-cosmetic things other than event passes, and we have like 600,000 dust. Like, you can just buy anything there is in the game. And so you don't have that kind of like attachment to your collection, that feeling of loss as to where if you're spending like $400 a month on Magic, which may sound excessive, but probably not entirely, then if you want to get away from Magic, you had to be like, fuck, I spent like $5,000 on this game last year, and now if I just want to pick up and quit, I have to, feel like that expenditure of money was worthwhile. I think that's in large part why you hear so many people in Magic talk about the value and how much something's worth and how much all the cards are worth and everything, is given that how much physical monetary value they've invested in it is there. But when it comes to a game like Runeterra, it's very easy to get along without like really spending any money on a collection. And so if you're like, well, I'm just going to go play Marvel Snap now, that bust guy was right. I don't want to be out here playing with these cards. Then the loss, you don't feel it as hard. So definitely real. How are we going to handle this? Like, we need to get our cheapo stuff going. We can build up to a Bloodletter's grappling hook next turn, but we need to block Zed this turn. I'm looking to just drop the Bloodletters here. That lets us get the unit on the board. Maybe we can grappling hook off the unit next turn as well. If we just put the thing onto the fresh unit, whatever it's called. The Dark Enthrall. Don't want Zed flipping here.
fight to the death. Thinking I'll learn soon.
Alright, let's see if we get some slays this round. Dark Enthrall here is about to grow. Gonna spew off a grappling hook. We did just pick up Merciless Hunter. We could look to not use action and then get a quick attack challenge. Opponent just spent all of their mana. Maybe I feel a little bit better about that. If we Merciless Hunter Zed and then hook Zed with action, then he gets to say if he blocks he's gonna block Merciless Hunter, right? But will we ever get another opportunity to use this grappling hook? Because it doesn't really feel like action's gonna die this game. Okay. I think I'm on board. This also, like, opponent does have 4 mana here. If they're going to play Combat Trick onto Zed. At number 1, it's a lot harder to do here. You have to Twin Disciplines. You can't Wuju style. You can't play the 1 mana thing. And then if Zed does survive, then he's probably just not blocking this turn. He actually had the Twin Disciplines. That's fine. Let's get in there. Let's see how disastrous this is going to be. No more combat tricks. Okay. It's like that was going to be fairly scary if that Zed got to come in again. And so you can put the scout onto Zed, which is fucking annoying, but we're starting to at least get a little bit rolling here. That's the sauce and the hate spike.
Destined to die.
Alright, let's try our best to avoid the flip. It's a lot easier for him to have a combat trick now, right? Because he has the 5 mana, but he didn't spend one last turn, so it's not unreasonable to think he doesn't have any more. Painful. All right. There was a Harrowing in the mix there. I'm curious if we should have just let everyone die and then look to play the Harrowing next turn. Right? We can get some blocks in on Zed. It's like, man, what are we gonna do now if we're gonna? Oh my gosh, just all the tricks. If we're gonna come out and like block these things, we're never getting 3 blocks in this turn. I think I just immediately saw the thing. I saw the Vile Feast and was like, oh, we can Vile Feast Zed. Oh, we're so fucked this game now. Okay. Maybe that's the way we should have done it. We wouldn't have had a particularly strong collection of units to bring up, but I think we would have been in a better spot. Alright, so the next angle, we're just going to have something go right with this. Like, I don't like that we have to advertise that we're going to be able to strike down a Zed, but we'll see how this plays out.
You're looking at Ione. Yep, 10 times running.
So how greedy can we get with this one? I mean, I just don't think we can do it. I think we'll just put maximum damage into the Zed. If he gets to come into next turn, we're so fucked. Like, Scout Zed's ridiculous. So we'll put the damage here. If he has the second Twin Disciplines, he can get out of this. Otherwise, both Wuju style and the 1-cost thing aren't enough to stop our attack into Zed. Wow. So that's a lot of stuff. Phew. brutal. I don't think there's any other way to describe what just happened to us. Oh, Vile Feast. All right. One-time dealer. He's had literally 1,000 combat tricks here. So we're going to block like this. Ideally, the Vile Feast finally kills the Zed. The way this game's gone, it's not going to happen. But you can't just Vile Feast and lose the game if he has a combat trick. And so ideally, the Vile Feast is going to pop. He's not going to have any more tricks. And then we'll be able to not lose the Spiderling in the middle of this combat. I mean, sure. I don't know what else to expect out of that one. Sure is essentially all you can say. But you can't just die there. Now we have new questions in terms of we could potentially try and win the games with these Zolanis. Like, he only has 1 mana now, so if we play Zolani, can he really attack with Zed? He's only got 1 mana at this point. He's already played 1 copy of the 1 mana trick. He can Wuju style into Zed, or Wuju style into a win, but I think threatening to kill Zed here is the best opportunity we're going to have. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Okay. Just literal everything this game. Oh my god, we got the kill on Zed. Wow. Wow. Okay. See if we can't get something else rolling.
Welcome, one and all, to the Midnight Revel!
There is a world where he just has nothing but combat tricks, right? That would be cool.
Show me one of them Yordle portals. I've got an idea.
You can't fish through Yordle portal. I tried.
Okay, so we're presenting the lethal. He has to block. So this dude's going to come back to hand. I'm just going to go ahead and Vile Feast. This is going to punch in an extra point of damage. And then we'll have an additional blocker for a little bit later. Or another unit to sacrifice to the replaying of the equipment. We just dead to Jax. He doesn't automatically have Overwhelm, right? He has to keep the thing on him, whatever this is called, the Light of Acacia. And it looks like he's probably just going to open. Alright. Let's force the matter. This will put the... We won't have the big unit, but this will let us... Okay, we're dead. It'll let us have the landmark pop. Sure. Whew, that was one of those games. Just, what can you do? Just literal everything at the appropriate times. All right. Moving on. So we got to deal with Kane twice. I'll bring you back, Akshan. We'll run it back. But I think we at least got to show in there why I thought it should have been decent. We have ample opportunity to stop the things. But the other thing that happened with that game is he hit Scout. If he didn't have the Scout equipment there, we wouldn't have been getting like 1,000,000 for 1 off of that. Off of that Zed. All right. We'll start in with the fearsomes, though. Is he gonna hit a Darken? Nope. Alright, fearsome attack coming through. Is he gonna hit a Darken? He did that time. Not super worried about it, but what are we gonna do with our turn here? It's like... I think we want to get Elise down. And then what's going to happen is next turn, we're going to drop the Phantom Butler. We'll attack with everything. and then we're going to end up hate spiking down one of these 3 attack units. So it's like we attack with everybody. He puts his 3/2 in front of Elise, and then we just hate spike our small spiderling into the 3/2, protect our Elise, build up our advantage a little bit.
Come, stay a while.
So this gets a Vile Feast on us. Okay. I think I'm all right with that. We're going to switch to open attacking now. He blocks our Elise. That doesn't sound as good. Alright, bring in the Fearsome. So Vile Feast here would be unfortunate. We lose out on our sacrificial unit, but that's the board we developed. It's okay. All the spiders. Your spider friends are all turning up, Elise. I'm sorry. I'm sorry we sacrificed you so early. We got to get stuff down now, and so we'll put the vulnerable onto the Bakai. Not a ton of units I'm worried about him playing here. I mean, we could have waited on this, waited on the Bakai to try and just drop a the thing next turn, but the sequencing doesn't work out that spectacularly. Sure. Challenger. Interesting. Do we just put it onto Akshan? It feels like it's going to be tough to attack with Akshan into a board. Like he's immediately going to give his next unit +1 health. Like, how much do we care if he falls, though? It's like he'll be pretty good after this turn. Maybe we find ourselves in a spot to where he can't block, though. It's tough. Like, he's going to play a unit. We're going to follow up probably with the Skitterer. But if he plays something big, we can still drop Akshan and then maybe have a turn to where he can't block anything. So he brings in Viego. That's fine. I'll still try to protect next turn. And so he can block our action with the Encroaching Mist. But hoping for a shutdown on the following turn. I'm liking Akshan less and less here now. It's like it's like as you stop and think, it's like, man, I'd like to play the Harrowing at some point, but I've got this this Warlord's Palace on the board, messing with our ability to do so.
You are the tool. I am the weapon.
Lies to ease your feeble mind.
So his angle is he's going to attack with Kain, probably into action. Can we ever just pass here? That feels terrible. All right. Why did that throw it at our deck? Oh, he just drew his Kain. All right.
I will find her.
This Harrowing's gonna be in the, or this palace is gonna be in the way. Not happy with it whatsoever. All right, well, let's bring him. Gotta get something happening out here, right? So as it stands, Kane can't block any of our dudes. Here's the Camaveran soldiers I was worried about. This is going to be a 3-3, so it can shut down our stuff now. Viego's probably about to flip as well. And we have to leave our Burgeoning Sentinel back to block Viego with, otherwise we just die next turn. Frustrating. Alright, I believe in you, deck. We just gotta make it one more turn. We'll pop off this extra Harrowing. Oh, geez, he's got the Challenger for our Sentinel, which is gonna die. Okay, good job. So that was frustrating. Not so much that match. I feel like we could have done that match a little better. It's just that that Zed one was a little frustrating in terms of I mean, that's what happens when we play these games. You know, if everything went perfectly every game, every time, it wouldn't be any fun to do. And so I feel like that was a bit of a high roll on the other side for that one, and then we could have played better in that last match and maybe taken it down. But nonetheless, in terms of our decks here today and bringing this kind of this triple harrowing strategy, like I still like it to a degree. This is just such a very powerful spell. And it's a spell that's just going to continue to get stronger and stronger. And so I don't entirely like how this panned out. I feel like without Gwen, your deck feels like it's a little bit short of Hallowed. And I don't want to play any of the other Hallowed cards. They're all pretty garbage. And so I don't think that this is the exact way to go about it. It doesn't feel like Akshan is particularly strong in this other one. I forgot about the Warlord's Palace is just like fucking us over the in terms of the harrowing, and so with this idea, I would probably start to just look towards Nasus. Nasus is another fearsome that plays around to the theme. There's some potential for goodness there, but I think to speak to this fearsomes deck, this will be something eventually. The Riot's really pushed hard to get the fearsome concept into Shurima Shadow Isles. Just a little bit short of landing there right now. They just need like one or two more cards for that to really pop off. And it feels like if it does ever get there, that this harrowing thing is not actually so bad. And so maybe this just kind of feels like a decent place for this to go. Maybe the idea here would have been taking Akshan out and putting Callista in, so that you just have another fearsome champion that generates some value and stuff, and she works nicely with hate spikes and such. And so maybe that would have been an angle to go that would have been a little bit better than Akshan, and we might have had something there. Of course, the Noxus version of the deck is quite strong. I do still like playing triple harrowing here. Elise is probably where this needs to be, right? I was really not excited in a lot of these games to where we're going to have to hate spike away a real unit, and not having the Elise for the Spiderling generation for the hate spikes, or having the House Spiders for the generation feels kind of bad. And so I think I would definitely want to just stick Gwen back in here, but you can look at having like a fairly decent double harrowing lineup, I think, especially with the Shurima kind of thing going on. And then the Freylord one probably just kind of needs to go. It wasn't terrible. Some of the ideas here are okay, but it's not that this is a bad deck. I always feel weird saying this statement. It's like, it's not that this is a bad deck, it just doesn't belong in this meta. And kind of what I mean with that are there are metas to where this deck has been good. Like Gnar Darius has been a very powerful deck in a lot of metas. Like if you look back to the Sundisk style meta, it was good then. I just don't think it's particularly good now. And so it's like not to say it's a bad deck, you just shouldn't play it now. Well, maybe that does mean it's a bad deck, right? But it's an interesting one. I do like this idea of having all of the overwhelm units with the harrowing, right? As we kind of saw in that last game against the Viego guy. We play the harrowing, we have all of our units on board, and then opponent just gets to come out and block stuff. We're trying to counteract that with fearsome and counteract it with overwhelm. But in that last game, his units were a little bit too big, but the idea there would have been we summon back a bunch of overwhelms. They still get blocked, but they get to chunk in some extra damage. And so it's another powerful and strong idea. Is this the best way to go about it? Probably not. I still think that the Sejuani Gwen deck is just a worse version of the Noxus one, and so I'm not really interested in just pushing Gwen into this deck. That doesn't feel particularly strong. And last but not least, I don't know. I mean, that's so weird to me. I feel like, did it happen in our first 3 matches where they just banned the deck on the left? I think that's something that happens excessively in Gauntlet. That is more of a more casual format than like queuing into a tournament on Magic Online and queuing into a tournament here, or Gauntlet being the closest thing that we have. It's definitely much more casual in terms of the Gauntlet, and so you can see that across the decks that we played, and I think that that's what happens a lot here. Is they're just like, oh, just ban the one on the left. It's like, are you going to be playing something like Ezreal Kennen that I don't want to deal with? No, okay, I'll just ban the one on the left. And I'm curious if there's a way to put a little bit of game into that. It's not like these are super high reward events, but getting those buys into the last chance gauntlet isn't invaluable, and so something maybe there as well. Nonetheless, fun set of games. I had fun with these battles. I hope you did too. And that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I hope your days are harrowed to the fullest extent. I don't know. That sentence probably makes sense to somebody. I hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust and me. Thank you for being here.